few weeks ago I was walking through the town square, the market square of the small market town Leek that I actually live in the Staffordshire Moorlands, and discovered something, a bit of a phenomena locally, called the Church in the Market. It's basically a market stall accompanied by one guy who likes to hear his own voice, and again, don't we all, and a bunch of spotty Herberts, one of whom came over and offered me a pamphlet. I told him, sorry, no thanks, I'm an atheist. At which point he turned around and said, "Oh, but if you read this and believe it, you'll be saved." Now, that's an interesting word, saved. And normally, in this context, if you're talking about saving somebody, you're preserving them from harm. You're keeping them safe, hence the word saved. You're stopping them from being killed or injured. And I stopped, thought for a second, and just came back and said, "Safe from what?" And then he started to talk about love and peace and understanding, and Jesus coming along and saying, "Hey, we should all be really, really nice to each other." And I then stopped him and said, "Well, saved from what? What are you saving me from? What is the threat?" At which point he said, "Hell." Now, hell is an interesting concept. Most of our modern interpretations of hell are actually medieval. They weren't clearly defined up until the medieval period, and probably the most famous one, Dante's description of hell, is the one that's permeated the psyche of our society, especially in European-based societies, since the Divine Comedy was actually written. Now, that means that a lot of the things that are actually in hell are human tortures, such as the swiving, the impalement, the branding, the burning, the skinning. All of them performed by demons who effectively, when you think about it, if the Christian God is in fact all-powerful, totally omnipotent, they're working for that God, this God of mercy and justice and peace and love. Now, when I pointed this out to said Spotty Herbert, then he kind of went quiet and then went back to the peace and love and justice, and then, sorry, stop. We are going to actually now go through this, and we're going to see whether your God is truly just, is truly merciful, is truly loving, by allowing these demons to actually work on his turf. Then over came the older guy, who basically, well, I called him the Herbert Meister, who decided that he was going to try and get involved and say, well, no, Satan controls hell. But who controls Satan? And then he went off onto the peace and love and how Jesus going to stop. Hold on. What you're saying to me is, if I do not believe what you're telling me, for the rest of eternity I will be tortured. They were threatening me in the middle of a market square. They were telling me that unspeakable tortures would be perpetrated upon me unless I believed them. Now, this is how churches work. This is how religion works. It is a case of coercion. It's mental coercion in this case, but in other cases, those tortures haven't happened after death, they've happened prior to death. That's what the Inquisition was all about. That's what burning heretics is all about. And effectively, coercion in any sort is about fear. So when somebody comes up to you and tells you that you are going to be saved if you believe them, they're threatening you, they want you scared, and they're probably lying. Anyway, enough of my burbling. I hope you managed to get maybe one or two little nuggets out of that. If you have, good. If you haven't, apologies. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.